Hi, and welcome to the New Agent Mindset. This is the podcast YouTube channel where we talk about all things related to the best advice, strategies, tools, and tips for new real estate agents who are just getting into the industry, whether you're studying for your test, about to take your exam and get licensed, or whether you've been in the industry for a while now and you're just looking for some ideas about how to get ramped up. This channel is all for you. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is John Pena and I'm a real estate agent with EXP in El Paso, Texas. I've been a real estate agent for about 6-7 months now. I got my license in the end of January of 2020. And like most of you, I am looking for the most efficient, quick ways to get ramped up, to develop a pipeline of clients, whether it's buyers or sellers, and start actually making money in this job, because as most of you know, it's a pretty high dropout rate for real estate agents. A lot of them are out of the industry within a couple of years. It's the stat that I always throw around, 87% out within 5 years. So that's a pretty sobering statistic. And so I'm hoping that you aren't one of those statistics. That's why I'm trying to provide as much value as I possibly can for you, which brings us to this episode. And this episode is all about circle prospecting. Perhaps you've heard of this, maybe you haven't. I've seen it in a lot of the feeds that I kind of watch, whether it's YouTube channels or podcasts or just kind of all around the real estate world. Seems to be something that's been popping up a lot. Certainly isn't a new strategy, but I figured that I'd tell you about it as best as I could, and then kind of try to answer the question of what is circle prospecting, and as a new real estate agent, is it something that I should be doing? So, first off, circle prospecting is kind of like geographic farming, which you may have heard of. I've mentioned that before. That's the idea where essentially a real estate agent chooses a geographic area, a neighborhood, let's say, and tries to target that area, try to become top of mind in that location by meeting homeowners, by potentially going door to door and doing the door knocking thing. Again, be careful right now with COVID, or trying to isolate the phone numbers and contact those homeowners. Could be sending out mail, what have you. But the idea is to try to contact as many of the homeowners in that area and provide some kind of value. I think what most agents do with this strategy is they'll go out and they'll try to engage the homeowner in a conversation about the real estate market specific to their neighborhood. So you go, you make your introductions, you're friendly, you're doing all those mindset lessons that we've talked about in the podcast episodes. So make sure you check those out, because those will really help with your personal skills. But if you can engage the homeowner and get to the point where you say, did you know that such and such sold their home just down the street from you? It was on the market for only 7 days. They had 3 offers. It sold for $5,000 over list. Now, believe it or not, it's a really great time to sell. Most people don't know that. Everybody thinks that we're under this pandemic and that the sky is falling. But actually, if you're thinking about selling your home, now's a fantastic time to do so, because inventory is low. There's a strong demand out there for shelter, for homes. Interest rates are historically low, so that's advantageous for buyers. So you can go through this whole spiel, and the goal is to, one, make a meaningful connection with another human being, with this homeowner. And while they may not be looking to sell right now, if you come back to them every couple of months or so, or whatever it is, you got to follow up. This is more of a long game kind of thing, but eventually they may decide, oh, you know what, now isn't a good time to sell. We're at that point in our lives, we're going to downsize, or we're going to move to where our family is, or whatever it is, and you'll be the realtor that's top of mind and hopefully gets that business. Now, circle prospecting is a similar kind of idea, but just with a little bit of a twist. And the twist is this: rather than just picking an area and plopping your quadrants around it and being like going after the people in that area, the idea behind circle prospecting is, let's say that, and I'm being realistic here, as a new agent, you probably don't have a lot of listings, if any. But let's say that a new listing comes up in an area that you have your eye on. Imagine dropping a pin on that listing and then having an expanding circle. Doesn't have to be a circle, could be a square, a polygon, whatever you want. But let's, for the sake of semantics, say you drop a pin on that new listing, you expand a circle out, let's say 2 miles. Within that circle, you are going to prospect, and much like with the geographic farming, you're going to try to go to those homeowners in that area and say, this time, just a little bit of a spin. Hi, go into your spiel. My name is John Pena with eXp Realty. How are you today? Did you know that the home at 123 Main Street in your neighborhood, across the street, across the block, whatever, is up for sale? It's listed for X, and I just wanted to let you know that homes are selling like hotcakes right now, and I was just going around seeing if anybody is looking for information about selling their home, or if you happen to know anybody who is interested in buying a home in your neighborhood. That'd be great. You could almost pick your neighbor. I could help you line up that person you know who has always wanted to buy in your neighborhood with this new listing. So lots of little different angles to play here. And that's the idea with circle prospecting. Now, it doesn't have to be a new listing. It could be a just sold. You could do the same kind of thing. You could go to the homeowner, say, hello, sir, did you happen to know that this home on 123 Main Street just sold for X in this amount of time, and all of these great things happened for the seller? If you or anybody you know is looking to sell, I'd love to help answer any questions that you might have. And don't just go after that hard sale, that hard kill right away. Remember, this is really more of a long game strategy. You're going to come back to this area consistently and try to build personal brand awareness so that when any of these homeowners within this area think of real estate, they think of you, right? That's the most important thing, to create personal brand awareness, become top of mind, develop that know, like, and trust factor. And the only way you're going to do that is if you consistently go through the area, whether that's, on foot, door knocking, or following up with phone calls, emails, whatever it is. This is not just a one and done kind of game, because sure, you might get lucky and you might spend 4 hours canvassing this area, and you might actually run into that seller who right then and there decides, you know what, I think we're going to sell our home, and sure, we're going to go with you. Okay, it could happen. Chances are it won't. Chances are that over the months or even years, this will pay off. The goal is to have it pay off with a number of listings from that area that go to you. Long game. So, some of the logistics of this long game of circle prospecting. Now, if you're going to do, the way to do this, speaking about for new agents, because it's new real estate agents, we don't have a ton of money to spend, right? So we're trying to find strategies to find clients that don't cost us a lot of out-of-pocket expense. So the cheapest, the free way to do it is to identify the property, identify the area, and then go door knocking. Please be mindful, I'm recording this in September of 2020. The pandemic is still with us. Please be mindful that if you're going to go door knocking, that 1, you should wear a mask. 2, you might even want to wear gloves because you're going to actually be knocking on their door or ringing the bell. 3, you want to make sure that you keep your distance from that homeowner, and you better be ready for some dirty looks and for some upset people who are not happy about this uninvited intrusion into their life during a pandemic. They might have somebody in the house who's immune compromised and, or elderly or what have you. They may not appreciate your effort during this particular moment in time, coming to their door and trying to push real estate services on them. With that said, not everybody will react in that way. It's just something to be conscious of. Now, If you would rather avoid that altogether, or if you don't want to do the walking and the door knocking, if that's just too much for you or whatever, the other way to do it is to call these people on the phone. Now, gone are the days where everybody has a landline and maybe you could get a yellow pages or a white pages. I'm dating myself here, and you could go through and you could meticulously try to figure out everyone who's in your area. That in and of itself would take a long time. But most people have cell phones now anyway, so it's not really a reality for you. So if you're going to engage in circle prospecting and you want to call these people, you're going to have to pay a service. I put a couple up on the website, Mojo, Agent Circle Prospecting. There's a lot of them out there. These are services that will allow you to define an area, and then they will find the cell phone numbers, as much information as they can, and they will give that to you for a price. The price is typically, what I saw was anywhere from $25 to $75 a month would get you that information. When I was researching the topic, one real estate agent suggested that title companies will give you this information about people in a certain location or area. I've never heard of that. I can't say whether that's true one way or the other. It doesn't sound true to me. I can't imagine why a title service would provide the private information of a bunch of people to you. It seems like that would get them into hot water, but if you want to ask, I'm sure it doesn't hurt to ask. So right there off the bat, that's going to cost you some money. In addition to money, circle prospecting is going to take up a lot of your time. So now we're starting to get into the question of, as a new real estate agent, is this a good strategy for me to employ? Well, only if you do the walking and the door knocking is it free. Number two, if you're going to call people on the phone, that's going to cost you money out of pocket. And now we're getting to whether you're door knocking or calling on the phone, it's going to take a lot of time to do this strategy well. Let's say that there's 200 houses that you're trying to reach out to. You're going to have to keep track, and you should keep track of all the data you get, because data is powered information. Data, it's useful, you need to know it. So if you're really going to hit all 200, you're going to need to come up with some way to be like, okay, I got a hold of house number 2, I didn't get a hold of house number 4, I'll call them back tomorrow. You're going to have to keep track of all of that. This is going to be a time-intensive endeavor on your part. So what you're going to really have to do is you're going to have to decide if the time and the energy you put into this is going to pay off for you, or if there are other strategies that are better suited to you. My short answer for should new real estate agents employ this strategy is, I'm just going to say no, okay? And here's why. Number one, we've already talked about it's going to probably cost you some money to do it. Number two, it's going to take up a significant amount of your time. Number three, this is a listing focused strategy. The idea is that you're trying to get listings, you're trying to get sellers. And while yes, we would all probably prefer to work more with sellers than with buyers, right? As a new real estate agent, you probably haven't worked with sellers yet, okay? And it's not like it's exactly like working with buyers. Do you have a listing presentation yet? And have you tried to pitch it to a seller? Do you actually have a listing plan, a strategy for how you're going to actually sell this person's home? Have you ever tried it, and does it work? Do you even know yet? Do you know anything about staging? Are you ready to put up some money to actually stage the home for this seller in hopes of selling it quicker, maybe getting more money for it, and then recouping those costs when you get your commission? Do you have the funds to do that? So if you haven't ever worked with sellers and you immediately spend all of your time and energy going after listings, but then you get there and you're not actually capable of providing the service to this seller that you say you can provide, that's not going to be good for you. That's going to be terrible word of mouth. You might lose the listing, and the whole time you spent all of your time trying, essentially spinning your wheels. Now, of course, how are you going to know how to sell homes if you never get listings? Absolutely, you're totally right. But my point is that as a new real estate agent, what most of us do, and just because most of us do it doesn't mean that you have to do it, but what most new real estate agents do is they try to locate buyers, because typically buyers are a little easier to find and convince to work with you than sellers. And then you get your real estate feet wet, so to speak, by helping buyers find their homes. And then once your game is a little bit stronger, then you start going after those listings. So that's the only reason that I say at least think about the idea of circle prospecting. Is it going to be the best use of your time? Is it going to be the best use of your money? Do you have the money to pull it off? These are considerations to keep in mind. Now, on the other hand, you may be the most awesome door knocker on the planet. You may just have like the most natural knack for starting up a conversation with people, and it's going to be a great strategy for you. Maybe you are just awesome on the phone, and as soon as you get somebody on the phone, you can just get right into it. Maybe you're super organized, so you can keep track of all the data, who you've talked to, who you haven't, and you might definitely find success. So please take that initial no with a grain of salt. Just wanted to kind of put it out there for maybe the majority of new real estate agents, as maybe this isn't the best strategy to go for as a new agent. The strategy that is most appropriate for most new agents is to reach out to your sphere of influence, your family and your friends, the people that know, like, and trust you. See if they or anybody they know is looking for real estate services. Another strategy that I would say that you should consider is a more modern approach, this lighthouse strategy, which I'm going to start talking about a little bit more. This idea that instead of you being this tugboat who goes out every day and tries to bring back, clients, instead of playing that game, you start to consider and understand more of this lighthouse strategy. This idea that you put yourself out there via social media and you start attracting people to you, right? So social media is a fantastic way to generate personal brand awareness because of this idea of duplication. Duplication is a really powerful idea. My mentors have taught this idea to me. I'm going to have them on to really explain it because they're fantastic at explaining it, but let me give it a shot. The idea of duplication is that, let's say you have somebody coming to you asking you the same question all the time. So you get these different potential buyers, let's say, who are always asking you the same questions. Now, you can spend all of your time one-on-one answering the questions, or you could make, let's say, a video for your Facebook page or your YouTube channel that answers those questions, so that anytime that question comes in, you can just direct people off to, hey, check out this video. It's going to answer every single thing that you're asking right now. Now, if you still have questions, then reach out to me. But now you're freeing up all of this time and energy because you've essentially duplicated yourself so that you don't have to spend time doing redundant tasks. So this is a productivity hack that I think is really important because as a real estate agent, let's face it, you get a lot of the same questions. First-time home buyers. This morning I actually made a video for first-time home buyers. You can check it out. It's going to be on my channel, Living in El Paso, Texas. I'm going to make a playlist for buyers because I've been getting this question all the time. I'm getting a lot of first-time home buyers, and they want to know, how does it work, right? They don't know what closing costs are. They don't understand how much of a down payment they're going to have to come to the table with. So I made a video that explains a lot of that, and now I can just direct all of those people to the video. They can see it, they can comment, and if they still have questions, great, then they can reach out to me. They're more informed now, right? And then I can answer whatever little follow-up questions they might have. So you have to decide, as a new real estate agent, how are you going to spend your time? If you think that circle prospecting is it, then go for it. Do it as well as you possibly can, and I would suspect that you will find success, because anything that you put your heart and your mind into, put the time, put the energy into it, you will hopefully find success. be ready for it to take a little while. Most things in real estate and in life aren't instant gratification. I've talked about this in another podcast episode. The first step of the journey is typically not where the reward is. The reward is typically the final steps. The pot of gold isn't at the beginning of the rainbow. The pot of gold, where is it? It's at the end of the rainbow, right? So be ready for the time lapse to happen before you start seeing results. But be consistent, stick with it, and you'll probably reap the rewards. If circle prospecting, the way that I explained it, doesn't really resonate with you, if you're like, yeah, John, that makes sense. Quite honestly, that's not how I want to spend my time. I'm going to go after this. Then go after something else. But come up with a strategy or two that resonates. I always say that resonates with you, that sounds like something that you could get behind, because you're going to have to get behind it consistently every day. Put your time and energy and focus there. Figure out what speaks to you. Research as much as you can about it and start. Don't put it off, start. If it's making a YouTube channel, pull your phone out tonight, come up with some kind of script or topic and press record. Just start, right? That's another big thing in our society nowadays. Just start. One of my mentors, Mike Sherrard, says, done is better than perfect. And it is so true. So figure out what speaks to you, research it, and start. And I can't quite honestly think of much better advice for new real estate agents out there. So if you are enjoying this content, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and even more importantly, in the comments, tell me this. As a new real estate agent, is circle prospecting something that you think would be advantageous for your business? Or does circle prospecting sound like something maybe a little bit down the road that probably has some teeth to it, but right now you're going to focus on something else? And comment below. What are you focusing on? What is speaking to you? What strategies are you thinking about employing? What strategies have you tried? How's it gone? I can't wait to hear your insights into the matter. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.